All right, so the end of an action is the intended outcome of the action and not a mere byproduct of the action. Okay, so so what an end of an action is whatever you intended the outcome to be, not
Mm-hmm.
that happens like just while you're doing it. So if I do a cartwheel, landing the cartwheel is the intended outcome. So if I
Mm-hmm.
do a cartwheel and I run into someone, that mere byproduct is not the end of the action.
Mm-hmm.
And the end value is thus the only reason for the action. So whatever the end value is the only reason that we should even do the action in the first place.
Okay.
So while it is true that not every end's value will justify any means, and even perhaps there is no end whose value will justify every means, okay, so this is saying that like the end result or the end of an action is not always going to justify doing it. And there might be
Mm-hmm.
action that there's like no action that might always be justified.
Mm-hmm.
Clear that nothing will justify a means except an end's value. So, what sentence here would you highlight as the main conclusion?
I would highlight, what did I highlight? I don't know what it is about that question, but
It's awkward.
I
So,
look at it and I'm like,
all right.
there's meaning in there.
Okay. So, this sentence here is just background information. We're almost giving a definition.
Okay.
Like, it's hard to it's kind of hard to argue with a definition, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is background information that we're using. And then we have like one of those fancy indicator words. It says so.
Mm-hmm.
But it goes on to say, so while it is true that not every end value would justify any means, and even perhaps that there is no end whose value would justify every means, what kind part of the argument would you say that this is? Have you learned about concessions yet?
I don't think I don't think so.
So a concession is a premise, but this isn't overly popular. It's helpful once you start recognizing them though. A concession
Uh-huh.
is when you grant the other side. So if I
Uh,
said, although it's hot outside, I want hot chocolate because it tastes so good. If I,
okay.
although it's hot outside, I'm granting the other side.
Okay.
Kind of granting the other side here, like, so while it's true that this is this and the blah, 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 kind of granting, we're conceding.
Uh-huh.
We go on to say, it is clear. Oh, so that's kind of, we can conclude that nothing will justify a means except an end's value.
Okay.
And what is an end's value? What was the synonymous term that we kind of learned here?
The end value was that the intended outcome?
Yep, the end of an action slash the intended outcome.
Okay.
And the only reason for the action. Okay, so if nothing will justify a means except an ends, it is clear that nothing will justify a means except an ends value. So what answer choice would you still, I know you got this one correct, but
I am which one did I say? Did I say C? I think it was C.
okay.
Was it
Are you positive?
C?
Okay, so let's start with A. The value of at least one end may be justified by any means. That isn't this at all.
Yes, that isn't that. And then I eliminated it because it said any means, and um
Well,
that's not something I picked up in the
and we're really just looking for this sentence in an answer.
oh, okay. That
So
too.
one can always justify a given action by appeal to the value of its intended outcome. There's a big difference between saying nothing will justify a means
Mm-hmm.
and
You can always justify.
excellent. Okay, we'll skip over D. Okay, so D, a lot of people pick D, but it's only the value of the byproducts of an action. It's not the byproducts, right?
Right.
Cross that one off really quickly. And then E, nothing can justify the intended outcome of an action except the value of that action's actual outcome. Well, we learned in the first sentence that it's the intended outcome.
Mm-hmm.
That is it. So we can cross off E. And then so C, one can justify an action only by appeal to the value of its intended outcome because the end of an action is only the intended outcome.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we get to the end's value.
Oh, okay.
That's a tough one.